Welcome to the Explainer. If you really think about it, an industrial facility is a lot like a living, breathing organism. If your heavy machinery and control systems are the muscles in the brain, well, your electrical cables are the veins and arteries. They're the hidden lifelines keeping the whole operation alive. But just like in the human body, these lifelines can develop silent, unseen diseases, and if left unchecked, we're talking about a catastrophic shutdown. So today, we're putting on our detective hats and our medical scrubs. We're going hunting for those silent killers. We're going to master the art and science of cable testing and fault finding to make sure your facility's heartbeat never flatlines.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, why cable testing matters. Second, common industrial cable failures. Third, essential cable testing types. Fourth, fault-finding forensics. And fifth, crucial testing safety precautions.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, Why Cable Testing Matters. The stakes of ignoring cable maintenance are just incredibly high. It's not simply about keeping the lights on. It is about life, safety, and the absolute survival of your operation. We've got proactive objectives here. Things like detecting insulation deterioration early, preventing unexpected equipment shutdowns, which, let's be real, can cost thousands of dollars a minute, and reducing the risk of fire and electric shock. And hitting those objectives directly translates into massive benefits for you. You guarantee increased plant availability, you drastically cut down on downtime, and most importantly, you ensure improved personnel safety. Proactive testing is literally an investment that pays out in both cost-saving efficiency and life-saving protection.
Moving on to Section 2, common industrial cable failures.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the stark contrast in how cables actually die. On one side, you have brutal physical trauma. We're talking about excavation equipment just crushing buried lines, rodents chewing through the protective layers, or excessive bending and heavy vibration from nearby machinery. It's sudden and it's violent. But on the other side, we have environmental and insulation damage. This is that slow, silent degradation from aging, relentless heat, moisture slowly seeping in over time, and chemical contamination breaking down the materials. Both are totally deadly to your system, but they require entirely different forensic approaches to actually catch.
Beyond those broad categories, we have to look at the specific choke points. Overheating is incredibly common, right? It's usually driven by circuit overloads or loose connections generating extreme resistance. Then there's corrosion, just eating away at the cable armor, the metallic sheath, or the glands. But the absolute most highly susceptible areas? Joint failure and termination failure. This is where human error really comes into play. Poor workmanship, inferior materials, loose lugs, or incorrect crimping can cause a perfectly healthy cable run to suddenly fail right at the connection point.
All right, Section 3, essential cable testing types. Let's get into the diagnostics.
The most famous of these is definitely the Megger, or the insulation resistance tester. Think of this as a severe stress test for your cable's protective jacket. By injecting high test voltages, we're talking anywhere from 250 volts all the way up to 5,000 volts, we can measure the quality of the insulation between the phases or from a phase to the earth. The rule of thumb here is actually pretty simple. A higher insulation resistance means a healthier cable. If that resistance is dropping, it means moisture or degradation is giving the electricity a path to escape, and that is exactly what you don't want.
Now, if the Megger is testing the jacket, continuity and earth tests are basically checking the electrical pulse and vital signs of the internal wire itself. These tests simply verify that the conductor is perfectly continuous from one end to the other with absolutely no breaks, and that the protective earthing path is completely solid. Unlike the insulation testing where we want high resistance, here we expect to see very low resistance. That confirms we have a clear, unbroken path for the current to flow.
Then we get into the more specialized diagnostics, like the VLF, or Very Low Frequency Test. This is a brilliant, incredibly effective tool used specifically for medium and high voltage cables. You see, standard high voltage testing on really long cable runs can sometimes put unnecessary collateral stress on the system. But by using a very low frequency, technicians can provide a thorough, rigorous test of the insulation while safely minimizing that stress. It ensures we don't accidentally cause a failure while we're trying to prevent one.
Rounding out our testing arsenal, we have the advanced predictive diagnostics. There's your standard high voltage or high-pod test, which is usually used after installations to check insulation strength, but the tan delta and partial discharge tests, those are basically your crystal balls.
Tan delta measures insulation aging and dielectric loss over time. And the partial discharge test is even more precise. It can actually detect tiny, hidden defects, like microscopic voids, cracks, or moisture damage inside the insulation well before they lead to a catastrophic blowout.
Let's move along and see how this all builds in Section 4, Fault-Finding Forensics.
So all those previous tests are fantastic for prevention, but what happens when a test actually fails? Finding a fault in miles of industrial cable requires some serious, step-by-step methodical logic to narrow down the suspect pool. Step 1 is always a visual inspection. You're hunting for obvious burn marks, physical trauma, or water ingress. Step 2 is continuity testing, just to see if the conductor is completely broken, an open circuit. Step 3 is insulation resistance testing, to find out if power is bleeding out through leakage paths. And Step 4 is cable tracing. If the fault is underground, you need specialized tools just to accurately locate the buried routes before you can even begin to find the specific problem area.
Once you know the general area, it's time to bring in the big guns. Enter the TDR, or Time Domain Reflectometer. You can think of the TDR like a sonar or radar system specifically designed for cables. It shoots an electrical pulse down the wire and then analyzes the reflections that bounce back. Based on exactly how that signal bounces, the TDR can instantly estimate the location of open circuits, shorts, or breaks. It is absolutely one of the fastest methods to find a fault because it tells you exactly where to look without needing to excavate the entire plant facility.
If the TDR gives you the map, these heavier forensic tools give you the exact coordinates. For those stubborn underground power faults, technicians use a high-voltage surge test, commonly called a thumper. It produces an acoustic surge you can actually hear above ground to pinpoint the fault. We also rely highly on thermal imaging using infrared cameras. This is brilliant because you can scan for overloaded hotspots, damaged joints, or loose connections while the power is completely on. It allows for preventive maintenance without interrupting your daily service. And of course, clamp meters are used to quickly check for current imbalances and leakages on those overloaded circuits.
And finally, Section 5, Crucial Testing Safety Precautions.
Look, we're dealing with immense, lethal amounts of energy here. Before a single test instrument is connected, these 4 isolation steps are completely non-negotiable. First, you must isolate the power supply. Second, strictly apply lockout/tagout or lotto procedures so nobody can accidentally flip the power back on. Third, you have to actively verify the absence of voltage with an approved calibrated tester. Never, ever just assume the power is off. And fourth, you must discharge any stored energy before handling the cables. Long cables act exactly like massive batteries, and they can hold a lethal charge long after the power is cut.
So the crucial point here is preparation. It's what keeps you alive. You must wear the appropriate PPE. Insulated gloves, safety glasses, arc-rated clothing. You inspect every single inch of your test leads for damage, and you keep unauthorized personnel far, far away from the testing zone. But here is the kicker, the most critical part. You must safely discharge the cable again after testing. Tests like the Megger or HiPot inject huge amounts of high-voltage energy right into the cable. Once the test is done, that lethal energy is still just sitting in there. You absolutely have to safely discharge it a second time before you pack up and only restore the system when all protective covers are securely back in place.
Which brings us to the ultimate question you have to ask yourself right now. Are your facility's cables hiding a catastrophic fault? As we've seen throughout this explainer, routine inspections and advanced tests like the VLF and TDR aren't just technical luxuries. They're really the only reliable way to prevent hidden environmental damage and loose terminations from becoming disastrous, hugely expensive failures. So take a look around your plant this week, because the silent killers are definitely out there. The question is, will you find them before they find you? Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and stay safe out there.